Hi, my name's Peter Nye. I'm a Senior First Officer on the British Airways A380 fleet. I'm also the Flight Manager Technical for the A380 and part of the entry into service team. So I've been working on this project for well over a year now, and I was lucky enough to be part of the crew that delivered the aircraft here to Heathrow on the 4th of July. We're incredibly proud and excited to have the aircraft here at our home base at Heathrow. Right now it's undergoing intensive trials to get ready for commercial service. There's a lot of activity going on board the aircraft, so we thought we'd take this opportunity to take you on a tour around and show you some of the more interesting aspects of this wonderful addition to our fleet. The Airbus A380 is a beautiful aircraft to fly. The pilots we've trained so far to operate it absolutely love it. One area we do focus on in the training is the ground handling. The aircraft has an 80-metre wingspan, so a real area of risk for us that we're really focusing on is taxiing the aircraft around on the ground. Once you're airborne, to some extent it operates like any other aircraft. When we're on the ground, its size really shows. So we have a few systems unique to this aircraft which help us manoeuvre the aircraft. We have an onboard airport navigation system, the OANS, which effectively is a bit of a tom-tom system. It gives us a satellite view of where the aircraft is at the airport. We can manipulate the display on the navigation system. It shows us where the aircraft is in relation to taxiways and the runways. And then we also have a camera system. So in place of our primary flying display, we can show two camera shots. One is underneath the aircraft and it shows us where the nose wheel is, so we can check we're on the taxiway centre line. And the other camera is at the tip of the tail fin, looking down to show us an overview of the aircraft and who's around us. A signature feature of the Airbus A380 is this double-width staircase at the front of the aircraft. And whilst I'm stood here, I'm sure you can see the lighting system we have. We have LED lighting throughout the aircraft, just like our fantastic new 787 aircraft. And we can recreate sunrise, sunset, and several other themes and moods throughout the flight. And hopefully that will prevent you being rudely awoken when the lights suddenly come on full to do a meal service. This aircraft is absolutely enormous. It's the world's biggest commercial aircraft. We have 469 seats on board. But one thing we've tried really hard to do in British Airways is to create intimate cabin zones, so that no matter where you're sat, you don't feel as if you're amongst the sea of people. This is our club or business class cabin. There's 97 club class seats on the aircraft, split between the main deck and the upper deck. As you can see, it's an incredibly light and airy cabin with a huge amount of space. The fuselage here is 20 inches wider than the 747, and a key feature is the fact that the fuselage is still curving outwards on the main deck. So for passengers lucky enough to get a window seat on this aircraft, there's an enormous amount of room between the passenger's shoulder and the fuselage wall, and of course we have these huge windows, much bigger than on many existing aircraft in our fleet. We're still in the main deck here, and this is the economy, or we call World Traveller section. There's 299 World Traveller seats, and they have some fantastic features. We have wider seats. We have a Thales i5000 in-flight entertainment system, which has over 200% more TV content and 50% more movies than our existing system. It also offers a USB port for every single customer, no matter where you're sat. So a very popular seat in the World Traveller cabin might be 25 Delta. You can see the enormous amount of legroom right here. There is effectively a missing seat here for a very good reason, in that underneath the carpet there is an escape hatch for the underfloor crew rest. Beneath the floor in the cabin here there's rest facilities for 12 cabin crew. So on a very, very long flight with 22 crew, there'll be a rotation system so that at any one time some crew are getting rest. So this is underneath the main deck of the aircraft, and there's rest facilities here for up to 12 cabin crew to ensure that they're safely rested and able to be very alert on a long-haul flight. As you can see, it's a bit like a couchette on a train. There's 12 bunks, one above the other. So here we are right at the very back of the main deck. We've just walked through a 3-class aircraft, and actually that's just one deck. Now we'll go upstairs and see the upper deck. So we're now on the upper deck of the A380. For those of you who've been on the upper deck of a 747, you'll find it's much, much larger up here. It's 70 inches wider than the upper deck of the 747. And this is the World Traveller Plus section. We have 55 seats here, with increased pitch, a bigger in-flight entertainment screen, and 2 USB ports instead of 1, as well as footrests and many other enhancements. As you can see, the fuselage up here actually curves inwards slightly more, but actually we've used the opportunity to put lockers in the space between the passenger and the sidewall where you can fit a laptop or a handbag. So we've now moved forwards into our upper deck club or business cabin. We have a unique feature up here along with our brand new 787 aircraft of a 232 configuration. This gives us a central seat. which we believe will be very, very popular for a business traveller on their own. So having now walked through the entire aircraft, we've reached the very front of the upper deck, and I'll just show you now what must be a unique feature, in that I'm sure it's got to be one of the largest flying lavatories in the world. So this is right at the front of our business class cabin on the upper deck. You can see this toilet's absolutely enormous. There's even a bench here we can use for getting changed into your pyjamas before you settle down for a good night's sleep. To give you a sense of scale, we've now come outside the aircraft. We're currently at our engineering base at Heathrow, and our launch destination is Los Angeles on the 24th of September, and conveniently, blue skies and 30 degrees today. As you can see, a pilot of an A380 is responsible for all of that. The aircraft can take off up to 569 tonnes, and it can carry 250 tonnes of fuel. The tailplane has the same wing area as the aircraft I used to fly, the A319 or 20 or 21. It is absolutely ginormous. I'm here underneath the wing of the A380, and as you can see, this is an absolute work of art. Many people think of an Airbus as being a French aircraft built in France. Some of the key components are British. The wing, the wonderful Rolls-Royce engines, built in the UK. This wing is 40 metres long. Without any fuel in it at all, it weighs 40 tonnes. It's a unique shape and absolutely enormous, which lets us fly at very, very slow speeds on the approach, which actually allows us to generate less noise because the engines have less thrust. We actually make 4 to 5 times less noise than a 747-400 when we're coming into land. Rolls-Royce are of course famous for building motor cars. However, today the Rolls-Royce brand is synonymous with building absolutely incredible aircraft engines. Right the way back from the Merlin engine on the Spitfire through to the incredible Trent 1000 engine we have on our brand new Boeing 787s, to the Trent 900 engine we have on the A380. This is the number 1 engine. We have 4 of them, of course. This is on the left-hand wing. Each engine generates 70,000 pounds of thrust. I was lucky enough to visit Derby and go on a tour around the factory with the A380 team to see some of these engines being made. It's an incredibly artisan process with skilled engineers making them, and they are incredibly fuel efficient, incredibly quiet, and they're going to give us a huge operational advantage. It's going to make it quiet for our customers, it's going to make it quiet for the people on the ground we fly over, it's going to burn less fuel, and it's going to produce less CO2 and emissions. It's a win-win for everyone. I'm stood here now by the wing gear of this A380. The aircraft has 22 wheels, and as you can see, again, like the rest of the aircraft, they're absolutely enormous. But the phenomenal thing is, because of the size of this wing, which I'm stood under now, the approach speed of an A380 is no faster than that of a smaller aircraft, like a Boeing 737 or an A319 or an A320. This makes us very, very quiet on the approach, and it means the landing distance is actually very, very short indeed. The role of a pilot has incredible breadth, particularly on an aircraft like this. We're going to be carrying 469 passengers, 22 cabin crew, and there'll be up to 4 pilots. The captain and the first officer are responsible for the safety and welfare of everyone on board. And as you can imagine, all sorts of situations could occur with that many people from the moment we board the aircraft, through taxiing out, airborne for perhaps 10 or 12 hours, and on landing until we finally disembark our customers at the other end. British Airways has launched a Beyond the Flight Deck initiative, and we're trying to enhance the customer experience for everyone on board, without losing sight, of course, of our primary objective of ensuring a safe and efficient operation, and ensuring the welfare and safety of every single person on board our aircraft. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this tour around our brand new A380 aircraft. We are incredibly proud and excited to have it here at our home base at Heathrow. And here it is sat behind me looking like a polished pin, and we're just doing the final touches and preparations to get it ready for commercial service. Speaking personally, I'm hugely excited and proud and feel very privileged to be able to take this aircraft into the air and fly it around the world. I hope you've enjoyed the tour, and I hope you're as excited as we are about this incredible new aircraft.